Welcome back to Beyond Ball. It's your host, Jacob Mathern, and your co-host, Gabe Caraway. This podcast episode is brought to you by Best Choice Purified Drinking Water, more Dr. Pepper, creamy coconut, but zero sugar, and a special guest today, whole milk. Beautiful. I love it. So, Gabe, before we start talking about the disappointment of LSU, let's go get to the small, easy stuff.
Yeah.
College football was back.
It was.
It was indeed back. It was a great day. I actually never left my couch besides going to weed eat for a little bit. It was a great day. Great day being a college sports fan. And I think we should recap the the games that we predicted first. Just get out the way. And we'll say the LSU one for after the next segment.
Let's get into our players of the week first, actually.
Player of the weeks first? Absolutely. 2 player of the weeks first. We have 5 player of the weeks. You need to do one by one or go down all 5.
I'll let you run off your 5 and then,
Okay, perfect. So my first one is going to be Mr. Ashton Gentry of the Boise State Broncos. Dog, 6 touchdowns, goes crazy. Next one is a guy. It is a dude. I love this dude. He's gonna make Noah Fafita even better. I cannot say this correctly, but keep in mind it's Tara Toa McMillan. Close enough. Also, dude. Next one I have here is a guy who plays for San Diego State and Marquise Cooper. Next I have Mr. from North Texas wide receiver Damon Ward Jr. And then if you go all the way to Mr. Northern Illinois, we have Mr. Ethan Hampton, quarterback.
All right. That's a good list. All right. I'll put down some stats for my guys just to kind of help.
Yeah.
I'll start on the defensive side of the ball. Dylan Stewart of the Gamecocks, located in Columbia, South Carolina. Burrow had 3 sacks. So that's pretty good. Against your Old Dominion Monarchs, actually.
Oh, yeah. That's expected. Hey, I went 0-12 my first season with
them. Not only that, 4 pressures, 2 forced fumbles. Bro was out there playing against, I don't know, high schoolers. It's Old Dominion, so yeah.
It's Old Dominion.
I don't know how their tackles look.
Not good. I've never done that.
Vanderbilt legend Diego Pavia versus Virginia Tech. No one thought they were going to win this game. I certainly didn't. It's Vanderbilt. Their stadium isn't even complete. And this man went out there 12 of 16, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then on the ground, 26 carries. 26 carries? I didn't even know Vanderbilt ran the ball like that.
I even watched the game. I never do that.
Another 104 on the ground for him. So, I mean, game of his life out there. They're going to need that against SEC opponents, though. And then potential Heisman statement by this man, Cam Ward versus Florida. Now it's Florida, and I think at this point we know Florida isn't very good. But 26 to 35, 385, 3 touchdowns. I mean, bro was out there cooking. I think he had 1 pick, but when you have those stats, who cares?
I want to point out for something for Cam Ward, watching that Miami-Florida game, how he legit walked out of bounds about 4 times on this Florida defense. It was the best thing to see from LSU fan. Just seeing Florida get absolute dog walk like this.
Yeah.
People say that I'm close in the game, aka this man right here.
Hold on. You had a similar score.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't care. I knew Miami was going to win. That's all I cared about. And
I picked Florida for the views.
For the views. You got to do it for the views.
It was close. I mean, I just flipped my pick. It's okay.
That's fair. All right, go to your fourth one? Fourth one.
Yeah, 4th. Jalen Catalon. Safety for God goodness. I know he played I don't think he's still on Texas. I'm trying to remember where he plays now. He transferred. He used to be at Arkansas as well. I definitely had this in my notes before. I don't know where it went. UNLV Rebels.
What a guy. What a
guy.
Known safety.
2 picks and a pick 6 for him against Houston. Great game. I think I would assume he has the lead for picks right now in the country. Great game from him. Moving on to South Alabama legend Gio Lopez. Bro was out there cooking. They still couldn't beat North Texas, which sucks. I hate North Texas. I'll always hate North Texas. 432 yards, 3 touchdowns, 13 carries, 62 yards. He got another touchdown. Efficiency, we're just going to ignore. It's not good. 26 of 49. Ugh. You're hovering around 50. That's not ideal. But, yeah, those guys really stood out to me this week.
I want to point out like a little honorable mention. Wow. To Desmond Reed of Pittsburgh, running back there. On the day he had, I want to say it was 156 yards on 14 carries. So on average, that's about 10.5 rush average, and had 2 touchdowns. And then of Washington State, which we all know they like to throw the ball. John Mateer, he went 11 for 17, 352 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks, and he had 2 carries for 55 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. So all in all, nice. I think we had a pretty amazing slate of games. And speaking of games, let's just go straight. I shout out all the people who played this past week. I think these games were amazing. And let's go just jump straight into our morning slate with Georgia and Clemson. Well,
first half was cinema.
It was a good game for about 2 halves. For about 2 halves. I really thought if Clemson could have some sort of offense going on, they would have won at that first half. If that's some sort of offense. But in Dabo Sweeney style, and
Kate Klubnik looked really rough.
He had throws at times where like he looked like there's a 5-star quarterback, but then he had other throws where like I would like that first. I think the first throw of the first drive, he throws it underneath the receiver and almost gets picked. I'm like, brother, you were a 5-star. I know you. It's bad. It's bad to see that. Yeah. But this game kind of went in no shock. We knew Georgia was going to win it. It's just depending by how much. That first half, I really thought Georgia was like, "Is this a team? Is this a team? Is this a Georgia team in the past? Or is Clemson's defense just that good?" And they crumbled. Clemson crumbled, and Georgia and Carson Beck looked really good. Mike King, Branton Robinson did not look good at all. It's a sad day to be a Branson Robinson.
Nate Frazier season. It's Nate Frazier season.
He's Todd Gurley's number 2. I'm like, look at that guy.
He's a dog.
I wouldn't have known. And before we get into the next slate of games, you had anything else to add with that game?
Yeah, I'll just I got a few here. I'll skip some. Some of them aren't important. So everyone knows Dabo Sweeney did not attack the portal. I don't know did they get anyone? I don't think they got anyone in the portal.
I actually saw a stat. They have not got a single person since 2018 in the portal. I don't know if that's right. I may be like
that doesn't sound right.
Wrong. That don't sound right. But I don't think they got anybody from the portal.
I know last season they didn't. You got to figure that's going to hurt them. It's not like there were bums out there in the portal. They could have got some guys that could have helped them. Cade Klubnik looked overwhelmed. I didn't see a lot of improvement. It's Georgia's defense. I'll give him that. But like some of the throws, you should just make them. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing else you can say. And then Clemson's defense, honestly, first half, pretty good. I was impressed. Second half, I don't know if it was their fault because the offense wasn't on the field very long. But I mean, you really saw the coaching of Kirby Smart at halftime, making the adjustments and coming out there, first drive, going down the field and scoring. They had a touchdown on 4 of their first drives in the second half. I mean, they were just rolling. He knows what he was doing. I'm not saying Dabo Swinney's not a good coach. Kind of saying it, but kind of on the down low. It's up. We don't really know, to be honest. But he's definitely not as good as Kirby Smart. You saw that pretty clearly. And yeah, that's about all.
I'm going to keep going on this morning slate because I don't know if you watched the Penn State West Virginia game.
So
yeah, so I watched. So at home, I had 4 multi-view for my games. I had Georgia and Clemson, Penn State, West Virginia, Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech, and Iowa and Illinois State. So a great 4 games, honestly. Let's just go straight into this Penn State game. Drew Aller looked like an actual quarterback. I hate to actually say that, but I mean, he looked he looked like much improved from last year, even though he had the best touchdown interception ratio in all of college football. That does not play in the fact that he did not look good at times.
Yeah.
And you're going on the road to one of the hardest places to play in. Not especially at night, but during the day, it's still pretty hard to play in. And you go in there, you take care of business versus a team that looked. West Virginia was one of the contenders in the Big 12 this year. They did not look that good. Garrett Green was on and off. He went 15 for 28, 161 yards, and did not have a touchdown nor an interception. And he was getting mauled. 10 carries for 5 rushing yards. I mean, you're playing a really good Penn State defense. You can't really do much about it. Drew Aller, opposite side, went 11 for 17, 216 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But, you know, when you have Nick Singleton in your backfield, I would be very scared of Nick Singleton and kind of focus on him more. But all in all, still a great game. I do want to shout out Diego Patfio. I went into the Vanderbilt Virginia Tech game thinking, yeah, there ain't no way Vanderbilt's winning. And then I see them go up 17. I'm like, hold up now. Hold up now.
And then almost blow it.
They almost blow it. They went into overtime. They got outscored the second half 24-10, which, to my knowledge, ain't that good. Especially versus Virginia Tech, as Virginia Tech is not a bad team by all means.
Yeah.
They're one of the contenders in the Big 12 as well. Big 12?
ACC.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
Their quarterback, Kyron Drones, looked pretty good. I actually is really high on him going into this year. 22 for 33, 322 yards, 2 touchdowns to an interception. But all in all, seeing Vanderbilt win a game, I think makes anybody's heart happy. Because, it's Vanderbilt. They're everybody's little child. And one last thing for the morning slate game. Iowa, I'm not going to overact like everybody else is. The first half of the Iowa game, the Illinois State game, keep in mind, Illinois State is an FCS team, was 6-0.
Yep. It was like
bad.
The offense is like 2022 Titans bad. Like it's bad.
Like it was
really bad.
It was hard to watch. Like when the other 3 games were on commercial, I'm like, crap, I have to go watch Iowa's offense. And I was sitting there, like their defense of course it's good. They're always going to be good. But I, I think it for Iowa's offense to still score 40 after what happened last year and the year before that, I think it's a win itself. I'm not going to overreact saying this is the best offense Iowa had in 80 years, which probably is true, since probably Noah Fant was in as an Iowa Hawkeye. But all in all, not overreaction here. Let's just go straight
Yeah.
into this next slate of games.
Yeah.
To start off with a game that we both thought could be way, way closer.
Yeah.
Miami and Florida. I mean,
I will.
yeah, go ahead, take the reins.
I just want to. I think we were kind of going to go the same direction. Cam Ward was obviously the standout of the game. A Heisman campaign could be on the way. It's Florida, but hey, I don't know. It looked good. I had concerns about him. Like, he had a good year at Washington State, but I did have concerns about him. He really answered all of them. I didn't really see Florida's defense didn't play well, but I really didn't see a lot of mistakes on his part. Xavier Restrepo at receiver, bro, was out there cooking, 7 for 112 and a touchdown. Should have also had a passing touchdown, but slightly overthrown. I was really disappointed. I was going to jump because anytime Florida gets scored on, I do a little fist pump. And then the last thing I want to kind of shout out here is the Miami Hurricanes defense. 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. Florida was 1 of 9 on third down. And that last conversion they got was, I believe, after DJ Lagway had already entered the game. So the game was pretty much lost for Florida. So, yeah.
I want to shout out DJ Lagway. I mean, true freshman. You come into that environment. I think he actually had some good throws. I didn't get to watch. I didn't get to watch a lot of the last a little bit of the game. I did watch the interception that he threw, which was, I mean, it's coming on the final play of the game. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, it was tipped. It's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give Cam Ward his flowers. I was really, really skeptical because remember he's coming from an FCS team, then comes to Washington State. His numbers are going to be inflated. Then he come to Miami this year with Mario Cristobal used him really, really good. He showed a lot. He showed off like some of the rushing ability that he does have, but he also showed off his real true passing, like his pocket presence and being a pocket passer. Just all in all, really good game from him. I do want to shout out this game I actually was watching alongside the Miami Florida game. Boise State and Georgia Southern. So the
I hate
first
Georgia
half,
Southern, so they're a rival.
That's very true. I don't blame you. I thought this was a really great game. There was no defense. It was a fun game, so there was no defense whatsoever. The score was 56-45. And I'm looking at the stats, and I'm thinking, how in the heck did Georgia Southern score 45 points? Because here's there's overall team stats. Just 461 yards, which isn't bad itself. 139 rushing yards to 322 passing yards. But the big thing here, they went 7 for 7 on the red zone and 13 for 19 on third downs.
Okay.
Now look at the Boise State team. 651 yards of total offense. 371 rushing yards, of course, by our king, our GOAT, the guy that I didn't know existed until this season, Ashton Gentry. I didn't say his stats earlier because I knew I was going to get to this. 20 carries, 271 yards, 6 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure the 6 touchdowns breaks a Mount West record and
Good.
I know it breaks a Boise State record. I think it's tied for a Mountain State record. Mount West record. And then just casually, their backup had 12 carries for 110 yards. Oh, yeah, there was no defense whatsoever in that game, and it was just a fun game to watch after watching both Clemson, a very defensive minded game in Clemson, Georgia, and whatever going on with Iowa. And I think that's all from the mid afternoon. There's nothing too special with it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else was played. Was there any? Was Oregon? Oregon was night, and
I think that was a later game. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so let's just go straight into our night session with. I'm gonna say this: the game of the day. The game of the day. I might say of the weekend of the day. No, Texas A&M, I do owe you a small bit of apology. You still lost, so womp womp.
Yeah.
But I
Connor
did.
Weigman moment.
I did, overrate of a pretty good defense that y'all have. Riley Leonard was in shambles, trying
It
to
was
pass,
pretty mid.
trying to pass anywhere over 10 yards. I didn't do my research. Apparently, he has 27% on deep passes.
Yeah, I didn't. I saw he was 18 of 30 for 158. I don't have a percentage on deep field though.
I just know he could not complete a pass past 10 yards. But the big thing that did stand out with Riley Leonard, which I'm very proud of that he finally got to use, was his legs. And the stat sheet doesn't show it, but it's 12 carries for 63 yards. And I think that made their offense a little more dynamic of sorts, because now you're also adding a guy named Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. There we go. Both had probably a combined 22 carries for 138 yards. But Texas A&M's offense was just as bad. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. I was sitting there. I'm like, I'm glad I love defense, because then if not, I would not like this game. Connor Weigman was put into a chokehold. He was being thrown everywhere. He was making terrible passes.
I just want to point this out. So 12 of 30, 100 yards, 2 picks, 31.8 QB rating. That's not good. That's pretty bad. So that really dragged their offense down. I was really disappointed.
I thought he was going to show a lot of improvement, because he was pretty good last year in the games that he was played before his injury, before Max Johnson came in and took it to. First, I don't want to diss Max Johnson because I saw his injury. I'm glad I'm not nursing Nature anymore after seeing that.
I can't forget what he did for LSU though. Behind the head pass. He did have a laser against Texas A&M. I'll admit that was a laser to win the game.
Yeah.
I'll admit.
But I do want to shout out EJ Smith. He got in the game. It's Emmitt Smith's child. The Unks are getting old. And anything last second things for this game, Gabe, before I go into this rest of the slate?
I mean, we both got our prediction right, but I will say I did predict a defensive game. My score was going to be very close, but Texas A&M gave up 10 in the final 154. So it was very close to hitting my score, but We move. So yeah, Notre Dame's defense and Texas A&M's defense looked good. Um, Texas A&M had 7 TFLs, but really they struggled to defend the run. Notre Dame had 198 on the ground, so they got to work on that. But I mean, overall, I mean, that was I don't know, can't remember what Notre Dame was ranked, but that was a pretty good performance for Texas A&M if they could just fix their offense.
They were ranked number 7.
Yep. So if Weigman can just like step up, maybe they can win some games.
Well, I do want to shout out to before we go into our this disaster class of what happened yesterday. Before I'm gonna go ahead and get someone over it. Dear Oregon.
Yeah, what was that?
I'm gonna read out some of their stats and tell me how they scored 24 points. Okay, Dylan Gabriel, 41 for 49,
My king.
380 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, that's pretty good. Jordan James, which I didn't know he was gonna be a starter. Shout out him. 15 carries, 135 yards, and a touchdown. So I'm looking at this. They have 1 turnover this whole entire game. And it was a fumble. How did they score 24 points? I didn't get a chance to watch this game because I was too busy watching, more important games. Oregon, what the heck? You're of course favorite in whatever conference you're in. I think the Big Ten. I've actually lost track of all of it. I believe Big Ten.
Yep.
But you're playing an FCS team. Idaho's not a scrub of an FCS team. Keep in mind, it's one of the better FCS teams there are. But still, they had 217 yards. They had 2 turnovers. The third down percentage was 2 for 12 for this Idaho team. I'm thinking, how do you score? I mean, they got the job done. They won. But they're beating an FCS team by 10 while scoring 24 points. That baffled me. I remember checking the score. I'm like, how is this even possible? I guess I should have watched the game. Ball knowers, if you watched the game, please let us know what happened. And then one last thing before we go ahead and move on. Michigan.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on. We're holding on here.
I did not know. Okay. Idaho's the first FBS program to voluntarily drop to FCS level.
That is correct.
I did not know that.
So they were in NCAA 13, and I always used to go there for a Road to Glory to play to go practice in the to go play in the dome they had. That's all I know about them. And then Michigan. What the heck?
Yeah.
Fresno State is actually, I thought had a really, really good game. But again, you're playing a Michigan defense that's out of this world. It was not an orgy. It was not an orgy in the end zone. Unfortunately,
No.
he did not start. It was so unfortunate, but he did go in the game. Alex Orji went 1 for 2, 3 passing yards and a touchdown, and had 5 carries, 32 yards. But apparently, what NCAA has been telling us, the Jesus Christ himself, Dylan Edwards, had 11 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, not ideal.
I'm like, I thought he was like gonna be your main bell cow. The backup running back here, Kalel Millings, had 15 carries for 92 yards. That's bad. That's really, really bad for Dylan Edwards as a guy who was critical last year to the success of the Michigan Wolverines and their championship run. It was hard to watch. I did watch a lot of that game, and it was bad. Shout out Fresno State. Oh, yeah, God.
Yeah, I kind of had my thoughts on that. I coupled it in with my preview for Texas Michigan. I got some thoughts on their
Yeah,
Fresno State game, so I'll get into that later.
I do want to shout out Fresno State for keeping it close. But
They're not bad.
they're not bad at all. I mean, you're also playing the reigning national champions, reigning
Yep.
national champions. And the last thing on Michigan, apparently their old, whatever the dude, Connor Stallion, is now a defensive coordinator for a high school, and they lost 47-8. I guess you just can't sign still in high school anymore. Not my problem. It's time.
I want to lead this in. I got a good cold open. These are just some fan reactions I saw in comment sections. This first one is really gonna speak more to you than me. I didn't get an account name or anything, but really just watched LSU lose another opener and realized we have to watch Dennis Allen walk the sidelines next Sunday.
Crap! I just realized that.
I got two more. Two kids in an effing trench coat could coach a better game. I sort of agree, especially in the second half. And then my favorite, I think I sent it to you. Sage Ryan was a 5-star. One guy said that, and then another guy replied and said, "Soon to be, give me a number 5."
Oh my!
That was my favorite moment.
This was so bad. Okay, so let's go get the positives out the way here. There's positives. Look at this. We did not give up over 40. The defense looked better. Thank God. Because if I had to watch last year's defense, let's just say I'll be napping for a very long time.
Yep.
Just all in all, let's breathe for a second before we go ahead. I'm gonna read off a few stats. Garrett Nussmeier, dog. 29 for 38, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then an interception that he threw very late in the game.
Mickey Mouse. Mouse.
I'm not counting that.
Doesn't count.
But I'm not yet. Kyron Lacey, 7. The guy that we all thought he was going to be, 7 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown. We don't talk about the touchdown celebration. That's just for a different time. Shout out John Emery for actually doing really good in this game. 10 carries, 71 yards. Josh Williams, 9 carries for 36 yards. Unfortunately, Mike Goat did not really play that much. Caleb Jackson, 6 carries, 27 yards. Get him on the field. Yeah. Get him on the field. I'm begging, please.
I agree.
Aaron Anderson came in, had a pretty decent day. 5 carries, 64 yards. I just think we need some more out of CJ Daniels. He had one of the better corners on him all game because I think they were pretty much putting Lacey and Anderson out the slot, or at least Anderson out the slot. They had Lacey on the outside left. But CJ Daniels need to create more separation.
Yeah.
This isn't the Conference USA anymore. You're playing big boy talent. He has to step up.
Yeah.
Mason Taylor came in the game, played really good.
Yeah.
Just trying to get these half good ones out the way. The defense, I want to shout. I think who was it? Who's? I'm trying to think of one of the white linebackers who had an amazing sack.
It's Whit Weeks, and then his brother West Weeks is also on the team.
I want to shout out them. They got me hype when they sacked USC on their second and final drive before they came down and scored on us.
Yeah.
And I'm going ahead and shout out a little bit of the USC. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we have to.
They look good. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's not of the Lincoln Riley led offense of old. They gave Miller Moss a lot of easy targets to hit. He went 27 36, 378 yards, and had a touchdown. But we saw rushing out of Lincoln Riley led offense.
Yeah.
This is one thing I did not expect to happen. Woody Marks had 16 carries for 68 yards, and of course had 2 touchdowns with one of those. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. I'm not going to get into much. Zachariah Branch, he's fast. He's scary.
Yeah.
Seeing him return one of those, I think it was a kickoff.
It was.
It
After
was a
the
kickoff.
penalty.
Yeah. It scared me. I'm like, oh, he's very, very fast.
Yeah.
But it's not like USC had a great, like, it had an amazing day, like, according to their standards. Their time of possession was 5 minutes lower than us. We had 33 minutes. They had 27. Not mathing. That's actually 8, 7, whatever. 8. Yes, that's 8. Whatever math. I don't know. We led them on pretty much every category. Besides passing yards.
Yeah, and points.
We don't think about points. The only thing was you had a turnover late at the end. Yeah, I'm not gonna count that. All right, let's go ahead and get
Mickey
into
Mouse.
the big negatives here. We played so freaking scared that we're sitting there, and I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, we're gonna pass it with Gary Netzmeyer. You know what we do? We run the freaking ball
right up the middle every time.
Todd Downing. I thought Todd Downing was there for as freaking offensive coordinator. I was sitting there. I'm like, there ain't no way we're running the ball when our quarterback is.
I literally thought it was a 2022 Titans game in the first half. That's all we were doing was running up the middle. How many early down runs up the middle for no gain did we have in the first half?
This first half of the game was cinema. It was great. 10 to 10 going into halftime. You had a good couple of talks to this team, and you had them ready to go. Second half, and
they missed a field goal before half. I thought that was going to start something. Didn't.
And just looking at this, I'm thinking, how do we lose? Brian Kelly kicks a field goal. Brian Kelly's really aggressive at times. He can be really stupid aggressive.
Why didn't we take the 3 on the opening drive? It's the same thing we did last year against Florida State. Did we not learn?
Like when you're looking at this, you're thinking, how does LSU lose this game? USC is coming with pretty much a new quarterback, a new running back, new wide receivers, half their new defense, and LSU's only coming in with a new step up wide receivers and just a new quarterback. Their defense is practically the same. And speaking of their defense, I don't want to get started.
At some point, I'm just going to have to start cooking. I got too much here.
I'll make a little spill, and I'll let you. Sage freaking Ryan. I thought you're going to come back this year, play this nickel role that
he's still 5'9". He's still 5'9". That is his issue. You can't guard anyone over 5'9".
That we know that you can be good. You're a 5-star. You're thinking of you yet. Okay, you know what? He could be good. New defensive coordinator. We don't have a name that we should not name.
Yeah. No.
It rhymed with Fat Nouse. Yeah. And Sage Ryan gets mossed. I don't know by who. I can't remember off the top of my head.
They don't wear names, so I don't know who any of them are.
I don't either. But I saw him get mossed. And I was playing cards at the time. And I flipped the table over. Let's just say I lost money that night.
I was upset, but I was like, Sage Ryan. Here he is again. Old Sage.
And then Major freaking Burns.
I, ugh.
This guy is supposed to be a projected second round pick. Could be chance for I know could be crazy. I saw a lot of things.
I thought I saw fourth.
I may have saw fourth too. I'm sitting there thinking it's the greatest name of all time. He got snubbed from the all name list, by the way. I saw a list with he got snubbed, which is okay.
The DBs are stacked though on the all name list.
He deserves to be snubbed after this performance.
Yes.
Major Burns, go ahead and go throw some bags, fries in my bag. I want a quarter pounder, a large fry, and a large Diet Coke.
Don't forget the onions.
Absolutely. Also, one last thing. You have the best defensive player in all college football. Or at least the best linebacker in all college football. Let's put it that way. And, thinking, let's have him rush the edge as an off-ball linebacker. Or on-ball linebacker. And you can also throw him out into the coverage as well because he's like that. And it's same as last year. You throw him at middle linebacker. I'm sitting there. And I'm looking. I'm like, have he called Caleb Perkins' name at all?
I think he blitzed on third down sometimes, but they would blitz him up the middle, not around the edge. He's just gonna get stuffed. He's not strong.
No.
Or he's not stronger than a center. He's just gonna get held.
Yeah.
You got to put him around the edge so he can run around them. That's his speed.
Okay, now there was a positive came out of this. Caleb Perkins is still the best linebacker in all of college football, just because this dude can make some insane tackles. He had 8 tackles. He had half TFL of the game. And I do want to shout out Savion Jones. He had a great game. Let me make sure I have the stats right here. He had 5 tackles, 4 solo tackles, keep in mind. 2 TFLs and 2 sacks. He was actually snubbed from my player of the week. My top 5.
Yeah.
And
they were holding him a lot.
Yeah. He also had a forced fumble and a pass deflection.
Yeah.
And then,
all right,
I'll let you have fun from here.
Oh man. Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts when you play better than them and you lose because you didn't coach better than them. And I didn't think I was going to say that, but here we are. So obviously we lost Denbrock to Notre Dame. Joe Sloan, I had some hope in him. He had some good plays, but and we already talked about it, holy moly, can we stop running up the center, up their behind, please? Can we stop?
We had the 2 best tackles in all of college football.
I'd also like to say, yeah. And Will Campbell talking about we're going to dominate the line and run the ball. They were getting stuffed. There wasn't anywhere to go. They weren't moving anybody up front. I was so disappointed in them.
And
nobody was moving anyone.
I hate to say this. Will Campbell did not have that good of a game.
No.
To his standards. Same thing happened last year at Florida State. We're overreacting, of course, but we're deserved. We have to be. Because this is a game we should easily win in there. Took care of business. And you have two great tackles, Emory Jones, and Will Campbell. Will Campbell was getting mauled out there. His run blocking isn't as good as people think. Yeah. He had a lot of holds, a lot of a false start or two. A lot of hold. He got a lot away with a lot of holds, but a false start as a junior, as a number 7 representative, you should not have that. You should know, especially when playing just such a true freshman year. being probably the first tackle off the board, you have to be better. And then that's my last spill because I'm offensive lineman. I need a spill for a second for that one. Also, why are you running the ball up a true freshman center? Not
our only new starter on the offensive line, and we decided to go right behind him every single play.
Not like just stretch out a little bit. I know we don't have like the fastest guy in the world, but I know we have more power backs than anything. But I'm pretty sure some dogs can bounce out. Just go ahead.
Josh Williams is not a power back. Why are we running him up the middle 52 times? Caleb Jackson only got like 2 runs up the middle. What the heck? What's that about? John Emery is the only guy who could get any space up the middle. And I don't know. He looked like it was 2019 again. I never saw that coming. So obviously a Big 12 ref crew moment for sure. The whole game. I mean, it's just a highlight tape for them. Why did we get flagged for shifting? Why is that a new rule? We didn't clap. They said that's a new rule this year. Why?
The funny thing
you want us to just sit down, let us run by them? What are we supposed to do?
I don't know. I want to like one of the final plays of that drive, of their Florida State drive. They were actually brought back 10 yards for a false start because we shifted and the guard moved. So I'm thinking, why is that? Like, why do we not get flagged there? One more thing, just one more. So the big thing as an offensive lineman is false starts. Okay, as an offensive lineman myself, or was one, I used to get so angry when I false started. Now, I'm not gonna talk about Will Campbell, but when you have a false start called back because apparently the play clock ended, I was sitting at that. I'm like, there ain't no way. Like, I know I'm not the most expert of sports. I like to call myself a good ball knower. But I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99.9% sure that it should have been a false start. They should have been 10 yards. They should not even had a drive, and I think they ended up scoring on the drive. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong, but I'll let you go back. Look back, watch this Florida State game while you're doing this.
So yeah, the defensive delay game. Apparently, that's new this year. It's so ridiculous. A couple push-offs by USC, big time. I'll preface this. The refs for both sides were not great, I'll admit. But in the first half, it was very clear who the refs were wanting to look better. We'll put it that way. There was a really bad push-off in the end zone, but Ashton Stamps recovered and knocked the ball out as he was like falling out of bounds. That was a great play by him, but he was clear push-off by number 10. I don't know why they don't wear names. I don't know who you are. You're not a household name, buddy. There is no holding on USC. Savion Jones could tell you, I'm sure. I know we got away with a couple, but holy moly. I know I spotted at least 5 uncalled holdings. 2 or 3 of those just on Savion Jones or anyone on the edge.
Number 10 is Malik Benson. Had 2 receptions for 23 yards.
Yeah, he probably won't do anything else the rest of the year. And I have a tiny little, I didn't want to be too nice, but I have a little USC segment here. Miller Moss, better win Heisman. Bro was out there cooking. Kind of like Nussmeier. He was kind of system. He was kind of just taking what the plays were giving him. He didn't really make any plays where I was like, ooh, first round pick. But he was like, he was accurate when he needed to be. He made the right plays. Their defense, I was definitely impressed. I didn't see that coming. That was kind of a non-ball nowhere moment. I didn't know that the new defensive coordinator they had was so good at UCLA. I was like, okay, he was probably mid, right? But they were ranked pretty well last year. So I was very impressed by them. It was a completely different defense what we've seen the last few years, especially under Lincoln Riley. Now they were just, especially in the second half, they were just dropping in the deep zone like 95% of the time. which is kind of a coach suggestion ad play calling, if you ask me. But that's kind of what took away our passing game, I think. I feel like they played more man in the first half. That's probably why you saw people like Kyron Lacey cooking them because, I mean, he's better than their corners. But still, yeah, CJ Daniels, where was he? I don't know if we need to draw up more plays for him or if he just wasn't getting open. I might have to go to a little film room session to figure that out. But their DC was low-key cooking for sure. Experienced receivers definitely showed out for them. I feel like they were all like 6'3" or taller, and I know Sage Ryan's like 5'9". I'm not sure how tall Stamps is. And then we had true freshman PJ Woodland out there at corner the whole game. He was kind of up and down. I mean, he's a true freshman. I'm not gonna sit over there and expect him to play like Stingley did true freshman year. So they our corners were getting worked. Stamps actually impressed me a couple times though. He did get cooked on the free play, but whatever at that point. So yeah, their receivers did kind of show out. I wasn't really expecting that. I was kind of just expecting a Branch show, to be honest. I don't really know receiving wise. I mean, Branch isn't that. He's not like a route runner or anything. He's more of a gadget guy. I don't know what he had, like receiving yards wise.
He had 4 receptions.
Deuce Robinson.
Yards.
Okay, yeah. Deuce Robinson, they're like, I guess he's a tight end, but he weighs like 100 pounds.
It's a wide receiver.
I think he plays more receiver.
He does.
For them. He's like 6'6", so he was out there, mossing everybody because we have a bunch of mighty might secondary players. I'm tired of them. That's one of my things on here. Can we please recruit some physical specimens back to LSU? I know we got Damian Pickett next year, I believe, 5-star corner, who's like 6'4". So you don't keep up with recruiting like that. I know. He's a 5-star. He's about 6'4". I was like, yeah, this is who we want at LSU, please. So we can stop getting mossed and getting pass interferences. Okay, we're now transitioning to the LSU side, which is going to be really fun. It's going to take about 30 minutes, so sit back.
Breathe for a second. Now cook.
So, we are now 0-3 in season openers in the Kelly era. Play at Clemson next year. I can only imagine we're going to lose again. Now, we do have a man named Bryce Underwood coming next year, who I think will start immediately. It's going to save our program because he's going to play corner too, I hope. So, of course, LSU in a season opener, somebody's going to make a stupid play that they're never going to make again in their life. One-hand catch by, I could not tell you his name. Craziest catch I've ever seen. I don't think it was a catch. But ESPN was like, hey guys, subscribe to ESPN Plus. Here's our worst angles we have possible. Enjoy, please subscribe. So that was pretty funny. Only really on one angle could you even really see what the ball was doing. But other than that, they were showing the worst angles. I thought it looked like it moved. I'm salty though, so I don't know. I'll never really know unless they release good angles. So yeah, of course, something like that had to happen. The defense, yeah, we talked about it. It definitely was improved. Again, we didn't think it could get worse. It didn't. The secondary, no consistency at all in coverage. Even at linebacker, I don't know how many times they were wide open over the middle. There were little hitch routes or drag routes, which I was worried about our linebackers' coverage ability going into it. Greg Penn really does not impress me. I know he got 18 and all, but that's more about being a leader, apparently not being that great. Pretty good tackler, but he got mossed by one tight end for sure. I remember in the first quarter. It was pretty bad. He was looking lost in coverage, just like everyone else. Jordan Gilbert, I didn't even see him out there making any plays. I was expecting a lot because our safety room wasn't really impressive, and it was a highly touted transfer from Texas A&M. I didn't see him making anything happen. I talked about it. Stamps and Woodland at corner. I mean, looked pretty good for being a sophomore and a true freshman. I think they'll just get better. Sage Ryan does definitely not to be on the field. We've already been over that. Savion Jones was cooking. Best defensive player of the game for sure. Um, I'm really excited to see, especially if we can get some more consistency on holding calls in games going forward, what he can do. I mean, you said the stats, so I'm not gonna beat a dead horse or anything. He was just out there getting to the quarterback, making plays. He did force that second fumble, I believe, later in the game. The two fumbles. How unlucky can we be that we can't get either of those? Their linemen had like 99 awareness because they were right on the ball. Shout out whoever the heck their O-line coach is. We kind of touched on it. Where is Harold Perkins? I don't know. They're wanting to play him. I guess I think he's Devin White. I don't know. His coverage is good. Like you look at the ratings from last year, they're good.
Mm.
But we know where he's gonna make his money, and that's gonna be coming off the edge. And even when he blitzed, I swear they were just bringing him straight up the middle, and he was getting stonewalled. I mean, he did have 8 TFLs. He's a good player. Obviously, he's gonna make plays still, even if they're not using him right. 5 for 13 on third down. Switching to the offense here. Good Lord. It's like I'm watching the 2020 Titans, but on offense. Todd Downing was scheming the runs. We kind of touched on that. Way too conservative in the second half. Goodness gracious. Holy moly. John Henry had that good drive, and I guess we just thought, let's establish our run game. I guess we thought that meant we could just run the ball to win the game. That's not really what happened. Not sure if they know that. Offensive line, very disappointed. We didn't give up any sacks, but in the run game, I mean, Will Campbell, that quote's going to live in infamy now, probably. I'm assuming it got memed by USC. I saw they were making fun of us in the locker room. Grow up. This is not even Big Ten football. We are not Ohio State, so good luck. So, yeah, we didn't give up any sacks, but I didn't expect us to get stonewalled like they had the Madden 25 Canton Greats on defensive line. Apparently, USC did. I mean, we had rushing yards. Emory was cooking on that one drive. But other than that, no real consistency. Kyron Lacey, no more concerns about him. He's a baller. One target in the second half. What? 7 catches for 94 TD in the first half. One target? Okay. That's cool. I think Xavier Thomas had more targets in the second half. Really disappointing. Play calling in the second half. I think you read off. Did you read off Nuss's stats? I think you did. And John Henry, 10 for 61. He had a catch for 10 yards too. He did his little stutter juke move on the catch. I got really excited when that happened. It didn't work at all.
I also
but,
got very,
he just did it. It was cool.
Scared when he did that.
Yeah, that's true. I hope that man stays healthy this year. I just want to see him have one year where he can be a consistent. I mean, it kind of looks like we're playing him as running back 2, based off of that game, or kind of a. I don't really know what our running back room is going to look like, to be honest, after this game. But I just hope that man can stay healthy and ride off into the sunset. I don't know if he'll get drafted, but hope he just has a good year. That's actually going to do it. I cut off some other ones. I just move on.
All right, now let's not overreact here. Okay, we got all ranting out the way. It's the next day. I woke up this morning in a better feeling.
Yeah.
Because we have Nichols next week. I will not be there. I'm actually going to Hattiesburg. We are going to go watch UFC. Kind of miss the Shorey Southeastern. Gonna be a
closer
great game.
than you think. I would expect. We didn't look good against Kentucky.
We lost 52-0 to Tulane. I think I.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at the Southern Miss. I didn't see what the final score was.
31-0. They ended up calling it. It should have been worse, honestly. That's
about right.
All right. We're good. Let's go take care of Nichols next week. We're okay.
Move on.
Let's move on.
Week 2 is here, baby.
Yep. Hey, we're okay. Let's just let's just go play Nichols. We'll be okay. And so speaking of week 2, let's go and do. We only got 2 games because there's only 2 really good games next week.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and pull them out just so I have it here. All right. So for the first game of the Pick'em, it's in the morning slate. Number 4 at number 9, Michigan. So number 4 Texas at number 9 in Michigan. Gabe, who do you have?
I have Texas.
I do too. Honestly, after what Michigan did versus Fresno State, it got me worried. The I think the spread for Texas is minus 7.5. Go ahead and take that 5 y'all. I think this is gonna be a blown out. Honestly, there's no way. Texas defense is really darn good this year. I don't know who they played or how they did really. I kind of forgot to look at that, but Michigan looked bad.
I'll get into it.
Okay, perfect. But I think the record prediction is going to be 35-7.
I have 31-14 Texas. So
I think there's no way around this one. Honestly,
yeah, I agree. I was very impressed by Texas in their win. I'll just kind of jump in.
Yeah,
52-0. It was Colorado State, so
that's right.
whatever.
They had the really light.
But
I think they're good. I think Colorado State's like a half decent team.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect 52-0. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The Texas offense is going to be coming into this game off a dominant showing. Ewers was out there cooking, 20-27, 260, 3 touchdowns. Did have a pick. And then the running back room is something we were concerned about because of the injuries. They kind of had a committee of Jarrett Gibson and Jaden Blue in the ground game. I think they both had about 10 or 11 carries. And then true freshman Ryan Wingo, who's a 5-star, I believe, looked very good. And Isaiah Bond, of course, did his thing. I think he got into the end zone once. So I'm very high on their offense coming off of this game. We knew Ewers and Bond were, them, but to see a true freshman like that, even in their first game, Colorado State, but step up like that really makes me feel better about the receiver room. And then the 2 running backs they had step up. Obviously, that was one of my biggest concerns with Texas. I think it was one of yours, following their injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Texas on defense, I do have a concern about their run defense. They gave up 25 for 106 to Justin Marshall, the Colorado State running back. A little bit concerned. They lost Devondre Sweat to the draft. Byron Murphy also. So, you maybe could have expected that, but you're gonna have to step that up this week because Michigan is gonna try to use their ground game. That's gonna be Dylan Edwards. That's gonna be I forgot the running back they had behind him from this past week, but they're gonna be trying to use both of them. Alex Orji is still gonna get some carries on the ground. They're gonna have packages for him. I hope there's going to be an orgy in the end zone.
We need it. See. Give it to me, please.
I'll move over to Michigan here. They're coming off a 30-10 win versus Fresno. You kind of touched on this. Fresno is actually not a bad team, especially for Group of 5. They have a respectable offense. But defensively, Michigan, I don't have any concerns if they played that well. The offense is obviously a concern. I don't know if it was a new coach coming off a championship. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, just kind of hung over. But Michigan, they did kind of sleepwalk. I think Michigan, I think you said this, Orji did not start. They tried to use both of them, him and Davis Warren at quarterback. We'll see what that looks like this week. I don't know if that's going to work against Texas. Um, I mean, based off the stats, you'd think you would go Davis Warren if they trust him to throw it more than Alex Orji. But Orji gives you a more balanced approach. Yeah, I just don't know if they're planning on doing that and how that's going to work.
I agree, and I don't really mean to throw you on this, but I just found a new game in the afternoon slate that I didn't realize that was. So I'll talk a little bit about it, and I'll let you make your thing. It's Iowa State at Iowa. I didn't see this in like the when I was we were initially looking through it, and we're
Yep.
giving each other ideas. Um, but I think this game can be actually very very interesting. Um, I'm gonna make my prediction. I think Iowa State is gonna come into Iowa here and beat them 14-3. I think it's gonna be a very low scoring game. I'm probably be really wrong on this because Iowa State did not play that good versus North Dakota.
Mm.
They beat them 21-3. Um, they're the thing with North Dakota. North Dakota had held the ball so long, so I was really good at doing that. So I really think this could be like a last switch up, last second, like when we make a graphic type of deal. But I want to shout out their quarterback, Rocco Beck. 20 for 26, 267 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I want to shout out their wide receiver, Jalen Noel. Um, 8 receptions, 135 yards, and a touchdown. And then Jaden Higgins, 5 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown. The big thing with Iowa State, they have to get a run game. They did not get a run game going at all. They actually had a combined 86 rushing yards on between the running backs about 15 carries. So if they get a good, solid running game going, I think they can really go into Iowa and pull something out here. But on the other end, Iowa, they look pretty good. Again, it's not big of an overreaction here. Cade McNamara looked really, really bad at times. His stats do not show that. But when you're pretty much playing the lower level FCS teams, keep in mind, and you're missing so many easy throws. His stats were 21 for 31, 251 yards, and 3 touchdowns. As a 5-star, I want to say to Michigan, um, you're gonna have to be better. Now, the big thing about Iowa, they have a good little running back named Caleb Johnson. He went for 11 carries, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But I think if Iowa State goes play their type of style and they get run game going, um, and Iowa State just has a normal offensive day for Iowa State, I can see them going in. But any thoughts on that? I know I sprung that on you last second.
Yeah, I don't want to make a uneducated guess or anything. I didn't look into too much how Iowa State looked this past week, so
That's fair.
I will, however, take us into our next game,
Yes, please.
which is another ranked matchup. Both teams. These aren't the poll hasn't come out yet, so we don't know what they're going to move. But this is based off last week. 15 Tennessee at NC State is ranked number 24. The game's really in Charlotte. It's at Panthers Stadium, Bank of America. I am predicting Tennessee's going to cook them. It's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty rough. I have 38-10 for Tennessee.
I'm actually going a step farther. I had the Vols beating them 45-7 here in this game.
I can see it.
Voice crack. North Dakota State in that first half versus
NC
Western
State.
Carolina was bad. Oh my! Honestly, until that fourth quarter, it was bad. At one point in time, Um, they I thought Grayson McCall was gonna go in and cook them. Gabe refused to say that name after Madden franchise.
I hate him.
um, it's just when you have an SEC team in week 2. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this saying real quick. And go and jump in real quick. Boston College just beat Florida State.
Yep.
We'll talk about that after this. Grayson Call looked bad, real bad. He missed so many easy throws. But the big thing about NC State was always their run defense. I believe his name is Jordan. Yeah, Jordan Waters. He came from Duke this past season. He had 20 carries, 133 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then their wide receiver, Kevin or Casey Concepcion, yeah, had 9 receiving yards, 121 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But you're playing a whole different animal than Western Carolina. Keep in mind, Chattanooga I'm pretty sure is one of the teams coming up soon from FCS. Unless I'm mistaking them from Delaware. I might be mistaking them from Delaware. Or, sorry, Charlotte. Wrong one. My fault.
Yeah, Charlotte's FBS now.
Yeah, that was my fault. 69, nice, to 3. Nico looked like an absolute dude. He was slinging that rock. Played only the first half. His stats were 22 for 28, 314 yards, and 3 passing touchdowns. Their run game was insane with Dylan Sampson. He had 12 carries for 124 yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't think there's any way NC State gets out of this alive. Tennessee looks like a serious contender in the SEC, and that's we haven't had after last year. What happened with Joe Milton? When they had the Joe Milton experience, we all love the Joe Milton experience, but come on, he's not a good quarterback. I'm not gonna lie, I was on the train for a little bit, but in the words of Moneyball, this is Joe Milton III. He's the most undervalued. He can throw the ball 80 yards. He can run the ball. His defect, he's not accurate at all, and his baseball IQ is terrible. But now you have Nico. He can throw 60 yards with no attention in it at all. He can run the ball. He didn't show a lot of that rushing ability. I wish he can. I wish he will. But he can. He's a really good improviser. And he also has good IQ that I think beats Hendon Hooker's football IQ. And believe it or not, he had decent IQ because he was going to be a second-round pick before he got injured. But all in all, Tennessee, go in there, beating them, 45-7.
So yeah, I'm definitely predicting a blowout as well. Tennessee's coming off a 69-3 win. I mean, I know it's Chattanooga, but they looked impressive. Nico was cooking. NC State, on the other hand, didn't look great, and it was Western Carolina. You would assume they're still going to be ranked. They may not move up at all, though. I wouldn't move them up. I may even move them down to 25. So they weren't that impressive, and you're playing a whole different animal this week. I just don't see if their secondary played that rough against Western Carolina, and Nico just came off a 314 3-touchdown game where he didn't play the second half. I can only imagine how bad it's going to get for their secondary. McCall early on looked really rough. I think the stats make him look a little bit better than he was. 26 of 40, 318, 3 touchdowns and a pick. That sounds a little bit better than it actually was if you had watched it. Yeah, Jordan Waters. He's really gonna have to keep Tennessee honest. Their running back, because you're gonna have a little bit of balance here. I just think Tennessee, especially with a pass rusher like James Pierce Jr., you're gonna have to run the ball because you might be getting sacked a lot. So if they can establish a ground game early on, kind of sounds like a basic football take where all your old coaches are going to say that. But that's really important, especially in a game like this. You want to keep Tennessee off the field. You do not want to let Nico on the field. You do not want to let Dante Thornton, who had 2 touchdowns on 3 catches, which is crazy. Brew McCoy, you do not want to let either of those receivers on the field to cook your corners because they will do that. And then they can also hand it off to Dylan Sampson, who is a star on the ground for them. You said it, 3 touchdowns. Kevin Concepcion is going to be NC State's answer in the receiving game, or Concepcion, I think is how it's pronounced. Player of a week cut for me, might I add. You said the stats. I mean, he was out there cooking. He was right outside of my top 5. I'll put this. I think Nico's going to cook, and I'm very concerned for NC State secondary.
I completely agree. I'm doing this real quick. All right, so we're done with the pick'ems. That's the 3 games we're really going to pick. I do want to have some honorable mentions, the games to look out for this week. Let's start with the morning slate. Arkansas, I'm not going to any stats, to be honest with you. I'm just going to get it right through here. Morning slate, Arkansas at Oklahoma State, and then Georgia Tech at Syracuse. Could be a decent game. And then that's Kansas State at Tulane. I think Kansas State's going to actually whoop them.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about that.
Probably. Yeah.
South Carolina at Kentucky. That could be interesting. Depends how it gets played. Cal at Auburn. I don't really know.
Yeah.
And of course,
picking through trash right
the
now.
real game of the day. Southeastern Louisiana University going to Southern Miss and go pull off a non-upset. We're going to pull it up by 50, and I'm going to sit there and drink my water and eat my popcorn, eat my hot dogs all game long. I do not care.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're getting a glizzy in your mouth.
Do not know a single person on Southern Miss's team. All I know, if we're on this,
Tate Rodemaker, dude, Florida State transfer.
That's very true. If we're on the sideline of Southeastern, I'll be heckling Style the whole game. And then USF is going to look to make quick revenge at Alabama in the next games. Yeah, that's all.
Let's dive into it.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Let's dive into the NFL.
To end off this little segment, football's back. I'm back. I have a gambling addiction, allegedly, and Oregon is trash. All right, to go into the real football, we're so back. NFL's back up this week. I don't know what to talk about here. Jeez,
I think we just stick with the Thursday night and Friday night game, and then we'll have another episode out before the weekend. We could talk about the rest.
Yeah. Thursday night, the game of the weekend, no doubt in my mind. My fantasy team is in shambles, but we don't care. My mental health is terrible, but 7:20 on NBC. The Baltimore Ravens is going to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. I don't think there's much to say. Honestly, these are the two top teams in the AFC. But you still look at, here's Ravens. Yeah, they got a new running back, but they lost a few defensive people. And then here's the Chiefs. Honestly, I think Lamar Jackson is going to go in and have a good day, a great day I'm really interested in how they're going to use Derrick Henry. I'm actually really excited for that. I'm excited for Zay Flowers to cook. I'm excited for Mark Andrews to cook. But I'm a big Chiefs guy, huge Chiefs guy. Keep in mind, Chiefs are going to win this game. I know that for sure. Mahomes is going to look Mahomey. Rashee Rice is going to probably have a DUI and 4 crashes on the way there, just to the stadium. Travis Kelce
And not get suspended.
And not get suspended. Travis Kelce is
because it wasn't gambling.
Proposed to whatever her name is on the center of the field, just being the Ravens.
We don't say it.
And
That's a second rule of this podcast. So we don't say her name.
And then Isaiah.
There's 2 names we don't say.
There's actually 3. You want to add
3.
Mouse.
Yep.
And then of course I want to see Isaiah Pacheco learn like a little toddler chase after a lollipop. That's off for that one.
I got quite a bit. I was giddy at the thought of putting together some NFL game preview notes. I'll start. I kind of like to divide them up for any games that I do. I'll start with the Chiefs. No Hollywood Brown. He's going to be out this game. It might only be this game or maybe a couple weeks. I'm not sure. So Xavier Worthy's going to get a chance to make a name for himself, just like Gambit, as wide receiver 2 in this offense. And we're going to see what that looks like. Obviously, wide receiver 2 means really wide receiver 3 because Travis Kelce is wide receiver 1. And then Rashee Rice, who had a good year last year, basically became their number 1 option once they realized, okay, Sky Moore stinks. Let's stop throwing the ball to him and let's get the ball to Rashee Rice, our rookie. I have a note here that just says Mahomes because
Mahomes. He's Mahomey. I can't wait to hear that. Oh, when I hear that, we're so back. I don't care. I don't care how annoying it is. He's gonna look Mahomey.
I'm just gonna bang my head into the table probably when I hear it. But so yeah, on offense, I don't have a lot to say about the Chiefs. Defensively, they didn't add much to their defensive line, which I thought is something they could have improved on. Mm-hmm. But you still have Chris Jones, George Karlaftis. They both had 10.5 sacks last year. Those are the guys that got to make a name for themselves. Well, they got to make a name for themselves. But I mean, specifically this game against the Ravens run game, they got to really be able to resist that. That's what the Ravens are going to want to do. This is something I pulled from the AFC Championship. They got to blitz Lamar. In the championship, when they blitzed 6+ guys, they held him to 1 of 6, 13 yards, 1 sack, and negative 0.76 EPA per dropback, which that's basically just measuring how efficient a quarterback is every time they drop back. If you're in the negatives, that's not good. Don't be in the negatives. You are not good if that happens. You're not good against the blitz, at least. Yeah, Derek Carr. I like to see Tannehill's EPA, just like not against the blitz, just from last year in any of the games he started total. So that's going to be a key for them defensively. We know Steve Spagnuolo's, Steve Spagnuolo. He's gonna scheme up. He's gonna cook. That's something they got to focus on. I think Nick Bolton is going to play a big factor for the Chiefs on defense. He's an underrated linebacker. I think you mentioned him before in one of our earlier episodes.
Love him.
Yeah. Especially against, I'm not saying he's going to play man on Mark Andrews, but over the middle, Mark Andrews is going to try to, do his little crossing routes. He's going to try to get open over the middle. Nick Bolton's got to be able to put a stop to that. Especially on their play action. They're going to want to do that. Justin Reed had a great year at safety for him last year. The deep shots are going to be there in the Ravens offense. They're going to try to get it downfield to Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is going to make him. He's going to try to. He had a little bit of a mistake there. That was just an effort play by Snead, but that's living in his head rent free.
Yeah,
and he's going to want to capitalize on that this season. And I'll just take that right into the Ravens segment. The one thing for Lamar I want to see is his pre-snap recognition.
Yeah, I agree.
Part of the issue, I I think he had a first year with Todd Monken as his offensive coordinator last year. So things like that are going to happen. But this year, when you have the team you have, you got to improve in that area. It's very important. And I think they will. I think they're going to cook. Lamar should hit 4,000 passing this year. He was right under it last year, I believe. Speaking of their run game,
Your king.
I don't want to even look at him. I don't want to see it. I may not even watch their offense because I don't want to see it. And then that stupid purple jersey or black, whatever they wear. This is something I pulled from an interview he had in the offseason. He said Henry said he was watching the AFC Championship and he wished he was on the Ravens to help them and play in that game. And I was like, ugh, dagger right here, man. It's too soon, Derek. What are you doing? So, yeah, just stay with the run game. The offensive line for the Ravens lost 3 starters. Now, these starters were, not all pros, but Morgan Moses, Kevin Zeitler, John Simpson. They're relying on some young guys to replace them. Daniel Falele, I don't know how to say his name. I think this is his 3rd year, maybe. And then they have Rosengarten, who's a rookie they drafted. And then Andrew Voorhees, who technically this is his 2nd year, but he didn't play last year. So he still hasn't played in the game. Basically, you have 2 rookies starting. And then you have Falele, or however you say it. So the offensive line is going to be a big part for the Ravens this game. The option game is going to be a crutch. I mentioned the play action. And then defensively, I think we both kind of agree. Losing Patrick Queen is going to hurt them more than people think. Even though Roquan Smith can carry a linebacker group by himself, I think you saw the tandem of them last year was great. I think that's really going to stand out.
It was perfect, down to the last minute detail, honestly.
Honestly. Especially to a division rival. They lost him to. Nnamdi Madubuike. He's using his real name now. Respect. He was a beast last year. One of the best interior pass rushers for the Ravens in the whole league. You got to disrupt Mahomes. I think every defensive coordinator says that. But then Mahomes rolls out and throws it 80 yards. So I don't really know what you can do. But if you force him out of the pocket, you're more likely to force a mistake. And that's just statistics for anybody. And then Nate Wiggins, rookie corner. Think he's going to have a great game. Gets to play against Xavier Worthy. So we'll see how that goes. I'm predicting, I don't know if you gave a score.
I did not.
34-31 for the Chiefs.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah. It's going to be a classic.
It's going to be a great game to watch. I know I don't work on Thursdays, so I'm going to be sitting on my beanbag chair and watching that, and to mentally prepare myself for Saturday as well. The big thing, can the Ravens stop Mahomes? Can the Ravens stop Legion of Zoom Part 2 with a little injury attack to it? Can the Chiefs stop Lamar Jackson in the running game with Derrick Henry? Unfortunately. It's just many questions coming from both sides. I think Ravens have the more questions than the Chiefs right now. So I'm going to go same thing. Chiefs 34-31. And then to take us into our last little segment, we're actually legit after this game. I think we're probably going to do a little calm talking. I don't really know yet. We haven't decided. But Packers and Eagles playing at, I had this right before, Paulo, I believe. That's in Brazil.
São Paulo.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
In Brazil. Keep in mind, I don't know if this is true yet. I mean, I don't know if this is still right, but Brazil has a ban on green at the stadium in a certain area.
Well, they're wearing green.
They're both wearing green, and every single.
Well, Eagles are wearing black, I think.
There's still green in it, and every single Eagles fan and Packers fan will be wearing green. I mean, that's a little flaw, but we're not going to get too big into that.
I heard it was made up, but I don't know. I heard conflicting rumors.
Yeah. I think this game, can go either way. It just depends who I'm high on, which I'll get to at the last little bit. Green Bay, you're without your RB2 and AJ Dillon, and that one hurts if you really think about it. Last time Josh Jacobs had like a fully healthy season was 2022. Yeah, without RB2 behind him, when he went crazy. So I believe that he probably can do it again on a better offensive line. But the big thing with the Packers is Jordan Love gonna get it done? I'm gonna say you'll see after. I'm not high on him obviously after last year. It depends what version of Jordan Love we're gonna get. He's gonna have the same 4 wide receivers he had last year in Jalen Reed, Romeo Doubs, Dontayvion Wicks, and Christian Watson. He's still Tucker Kraft's actually questionable for this game. He has a pectoral muscle injury. But right behind him is
could be Luke Musgrave.
Yeah, Luke Musgrave. Still a really good, really good tight end. And of course our GOAT, Malik Willis, is quarterback 2 from what I saw.
I think so.
The big thing with Green Bay is how's this offense going to look. I think they take a lot more step back, even though you have a kind of a side-by-side look of running back here. You move from Aaron Jones, he goes to Minnesota, and you come get Josh Jacobs, which apparently Josh Jacobs offered like $4 million more by the New York Giants. If I'm not mistaken, and turned it down because he don't want to play there. Good decision.
Yeah, fair.
Really good decision.
Completely fair.
You with Green Bay, you added Xavier McKinney stole him from the Giants. Actually, great pickup, amazing pickup. Actually, a lot of people are not high on McKinney. I am. I always liked him coming out of Alabama. Can Quay Walker do better than he was last year? Because he was all right last year, but he wasn't that great of a player that you need him to be. I believe he was a 2nd round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
If not late first. You're coming out of Georgia. You have high expectations. But it's all around, it's still the same crew they had last year with a couple losses, a couple upgrades. But on the bring me to my next event, Philly. This is the team that is going to be good. Jalen Hurts, fraud, but that's okay. We don't need to talk about how fraudulent he is. As a passer, as a rusher, I'm all for it. He can run all he wants. But as a passer, he's fraudulent. I don't really care. He's A.J. Brown, still one of the best wide receivers there is in the league, and Devontae Smith, best wide receiver too, and you still got Dallas Goedert. Just a big upgrade you had this year. In a little sad tone of destruction of Saquon Barkley. And of course you got Jahan Dotson from the Commanders. That's scary. That's a scary a lot. You still got, I know they lost Jason Kelce, and it hurts a lot when you lose Jason Kelce because that was probably one of the best linemen for years and years to come. When he played, probably the best center in the league for a while before Creed Humphrey came in and stole that title. Big Creed Humphrey guy, absolutely. It's just all in all, it's going to come down to who's going to make the better plays, who's going to have the better defense. Packers is actually sobbing. Packers fans are actually sobbing because James Bradbury's out. But it doesn't matter. We got the GOAT, Reed Blankenship, another GOAT, which looked really bad in the preseason, like really, really bad. He actually might not play in this game because of how bad he was. Cooper DeJean, GOATs. And of course, you still got Big Play Slay. You actually added Devin White this past offseason. Devin White is a good linebacker when he wants to be. You still got the big dogs, the big Georgia Bulldogs in the defensive lineman and Jalen Carter and really, really big boy Jordan Davis. Man's massive. I'm actually very scared. And you got Josh Wade. You still got Bryce. Bryce Huff was quietly really good last year. And Oren Burks looked really good during the preseason. I think he's going to continue that. And you still got Brandon Graham. And then the guy that I hate the most, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Still mad, but that's okay. Let me talk about that. It's just going to come down is the supporters of the group are going to step up. Like N'Kobe Dean, Keely Ringo, I've heard, is going to play a little bit this game. Vontae Maggs is going to play a little bit. Nolan Smith. Eli Ricks might get some playing time from what I've heard. It's just all going to come down to which team's going to match up most. But just because I'm not high on the Packers at all, they might play good this year. This good first game, but I have the Eagles, 35-21.
I do have the Packers 21-17, but I kind of feel like it could go either way.
Yeah.
I'm definitely higher on Jordan Love than you are for sure. I'll kind of flip. I'll go with the Eagles first. So, man, I've said this like 4 times for games, but you got to establish the ground game first with Saquon. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to prove you can run without Kelsey. You could say he's just one position on their line, but he's going to impact their run game a lot more than people think. Cam Jurgens, I think, got developed pretty well behind Jason Kelsey. I think Jason Kelsey was talking pretty high about him. He's confident in him. And then Mekhi Becton seems to be the right guard, who's been pretty in the Jets, minus his rookie year.
He's massive.
He just can't stay healthy. I think he'd be better off playing guard anyway.
I agree.
So we'll see how those two fill in. It's got to be prioritizing the hierarchy. It's AJ, it's Saquon, and then it's Devonta Smith. I think that's who you need to get involved. That's the order you need to do it. Goddard is questionable for this game. That's kind of a big piece for them. So a little bit concerned. Hope he can go. Hope we can get everyone out there.
I have him as I saw his probable. Of course, he's dealing with a oblique injury he had last year. But I have him as probable in my notes here. That's what I saw.
Jalen Hurts needs to bounce back. He was pretty at the back half of last year. I'm not high on Jalen Hurts. Even 2 years ago, I wasn't a big Jalen Hurts fan. I don't know. With that team that they've had and like the offensive group, it's hard to really know. Everyone liked to meme the tush push. He's a tush push merchant. That was kind of true last year. I still think they're going to use that play this year. So Saquon on your fantasy teams, watch out. He may not get a lot of touchdowns. They went 1 of 5 down the stretch last year. Lost to Tampa in the first round. It was a disappointing season for him. Coming off a Super Bowl appearance, underwhelming to say the very least. But I think they can bounce back. But it's all on Jalen Hurts. I think if he can bounce back and have a great year, that's going to go a long way for him. It's the opposite for Jordan Love, who needs to repeat his second half of the season. And even if he doesn't, playing as good as he was, playing right under that, that's still a pretty good level to play as a quarterback. We'll see if he can do it. Coming off a big payday, obviously we've talked about that. Is that gonna play any factor in his play? We'll see. I think he's gonna have a good year. I don't know if he's gonna live up to how he was at the end of last year, where he was top 5 to 8 quarterback down the stretch. But if he can just be more consistent than the first half of last year. I still think sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, that obviously benefited him. You saw it. So I think he's going to have a big year. The young secondary of the Eagles is a concern for me. I mean, they still have Darius Slay, who's, he's Darius Slay. James Bradbury is going to be out. He's not good, but, like, it's at least experience. You got Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Eli Ricks, Kelly Ringo. I mean, these are the guys that are going to be on the field. Maybe not starting, but, getting reps. So they're going to have to make the most when they're out there. I think they're going to struggle against the set of Packers receivers that they have. That's a pretty. All four of the Packers receivers bring a different aspect, and you really got to watch for them. I'm really concerned about that for the Eagles. And then up front for the Eagles, you needed some development from the four Georgia players: Davis, Carter, Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean. You're going to need some development from them. Jalen Carter, first half of last year, really good at football. Second half, a little more inconsistent. Jordan Davis, he just needs to search more versatility, maybe stay on the field a little bit more.
Big, massive dude, though.
And then, yeah, he's big. Nolan Smith, I think he's going to develop this year. He's actually the guy I'm highest on out of this group. I think he's going to develop. You replace Reddick with Bryce Huff, but I think that opens up a window of opportunity for Nolan Smith as well. Bryce Huff is actually really underrated while he was on the Jets. I really like that pickup. Thought that was sneaky. Especially you see Reddick now, who's holding out, so they were kind of cooking when they did that. Linebackers, that's my reaction. Devin White, obviously I love the guy, but in the NFL, been a little bit too inconsistent for my liking. When he's really locked in, he's an upper, top 15 linebacker at his very best. He just needs to play at that level consistently. Specifically in like coverage, I think a lot of times he's a little bit lackluster. Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean are your other linebackers. We are not moved, at least right now, unless they develop. And then switch it back over to the Packers. Josh Jacobs, lose Aaron Jones to division rival. Josh Jacobs, more of a lateral move in my mind.
I agree.
It's not Josh Jacobs. He's so much better than Aaron Jones at this point. Not really. I think they're, he's maybe slightly better, but I think he's going to bring some more balance to their offense if they really rely on him. I think as a pure rusher, Josh Jacobs is definitely better than Aaron Jones, so they can really rely on that. He will need to have a bounce back year. Last year with the Raiders, not amazing. No AJ Dillon. We said that. That's not AJ Dillon has been the consistent guy in your running back room. I just love AJ Dillon. Really fun to watch.
Makes me so sad.
On defense, I got a couple things here. Not much. Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark up front. Obviously, they've been there a while. You got to get to Hurts, prevent the Eagles from just dominating you in the trenches, which they're going to want to establish. I just think Rashawn Gary, obviously, I think has been more of an underrated pass rusher in the league. I don't think he gets enough love. Kenny Clark, you know what he's going to bring to the table. And then secondary, Jair Alexander's still here. He's still elite. I think he was dealing with some injuries last year, so I just need to keep him on the field this year. I think he's going to he's definitely have a fun time trying to guard AJ and Devonta Smith. But I do think he can, play at an elite level still. And then I guess Eric Stokes is their cornerback too. That's not great.
Hey,
you're asking a lot.
Madden legend.
Yeah, you're asking a lot out of him. But you're going to need a breakout from Eric Stokes for sure. Quay Walker, we mentioned, he's going to need to step up in the linebacker room because there's not a lot of guys there to really compete with him. So he's got to show himself as the star of that group. And then, the signing of Xavier McKinney. That's the last thing I have here. I think that's a really underrated signing. It's going to be a huge move for them, especially in this game with the weapons and the downfield passing they're going to want to do.
And is that it?
I think that is.
Well, to end off our 5th episode of our podcast, Florida State sucks. A little stat: 4th preseason top AP top 10 to start 0-2 in the last 18 seasons. They joined 2022 Notre Dame, 2020 Penn State, and 2017 Florida State. I have no words. This weekend, I'm probably be the laziest person in the world. I apologize for all my family. And Garrett Nussbus is here. Brian Kelly can go find a tall building. If you know what I mean, Boston College is apparently really good. Tennessee wins, and screw a man named USC. Thank y'all for listening to today's podcast. Of course, follow, like, share, do all that good jazz. Subscribe, share with your friends. We love more followers around here. And of course, it's your host Jacob III and your co-host Gabe Caraway. Thank y'all.